Hey guys, this is GamerCow. Welcome to the 13th episode of the Pokemon TCG draft series, at least a draft portion, since we have separated them at this point. Hopefully that doesn't mean this set's going to be too unlucky for us, because there's a lot of really exciting things to get in here. This is the Expedition base set. Yep, we're moving into E-Series at this point, and the idea behind this, I guess, was that this was going to be another, not plateau point, but this was going to be another jumping off point for the game. We do have the introduction of supporters, we have the new status condition, we've got Poké Powers, Poké Bodies for the first time, but then Wizards lost the rights to make the game, and so we had a completely new base set in 3 sets time, which is unfortunate. But there is still a lot of historical importance here. It's a bit of a lost format, to be honest, because not a lot of people are playing it this time, and I think Muck kind of ruined quite a bit of it as well, so hopefully we can play around that at least somewhat. But this set's really cool. I do want to go over the set structure real quick though, just before we actually go into the cards proper. We are only getting 9 cards per pack at this point, so that means we get fewer uncommons. We get 4 or 5 commons, we get 1 reverse holo, 1 guaranteed rare, and then 2 uncommons. And if you only got 4 commons, as we'll see in this pack up here, just as a demo test one, we actually get a holo in this slot down here. So we'll see the structure here. We've got our 4 commons, 2 uncommons here, guaranteed rare. The reverse holo can be any card in the set, pretty much. So this will, in this case, it's just a common, but you'll often get extra rares and stuff here as well. So that's kind of neat. There is no delineation from that. There's no alternate foiling in the API packs, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure at some point even this foiling goes away, which is a shame. But yeah, there's no actual way of telling that your cards are reverse holo. So yeah, that's unfortunate. It would be nice to have blinged the deck out, but I guess it makes it more readable, so I will forgive it. But then, yeah, if this isn't a common, it will be a premium card. So it's going to be one of the foils of the set. And that's pretty much it. Most of the holos in this set, actually, I think all of the holos in this set have non-holo versions as well, but it's not the same the other way around. Think of the Espeon and the Umbreon from Neo Discovery, where you had alternate versions of them. All of the Gen 2 starters, in this case, have got actual alternate cards here. None of them are any good though, so we're hoping not to pull many of them. I guess the Charizard is somewhat okay. I don't even remember. Does the Venusaur do? No, the Venusaur's not even very good. So we're not looking to pull any of those, but just note that this good Charizard has got a holo and a non-holo version. So there is that. Also, because we're only getting 2 uncommons per pack, and these are big sets at this point compared to what we've opened prior, we're kind of in that point where we're probably not going to pull a lot of some of the stuff that we really need. So this is most important for supporter cards. And one thing I have noticed is that theme decks, whilst they are not very good in most cases for actual strategies and stuff, they are typically very good at providing a couple of supporter cards that we would really want. So, after we have done our draft, we get the option of one of the 2 theme decks that were in this set. This is Echo at the top here. It focuses on the Alakazam, and it's just far and away the better one for this set. Usually it's not this clear cut, but this has Clefable, which is arguably the best card of the set. Alakazam is a pretty strong card in its own right, and it has 3 copies of Professor Elm's Training Method, which is one of the key search cards of this era. Evolutions are the name of the game at the moment, so we definitely need hold of that. Electric Garden in comparison, I mean, the thing that stands out to me is the Flaffy, mostly because I do not actually have the other one. I only have 1 copy of Neo Revelations Flaffy, and Ampharos in this set is actually really good. So I could see me playing that, but honestly, I don't really think it's going to be good enough here. Bill's Maintenance, especially when you only get 2 of it compared to the 3 training method from before, just isn't going to cut it. Both decks have got copycats, there's no benefit there. And Power Charge, this is actually Energy Charge from before, it's what it was supposed to be, so our copies of Energy Charge will translate into this one. And honestly, it's not a good enough replacement, right, compared to what we had. So almost definitely picking up Echo here. This deck is just better, but we'll see as we go. As far as the important stuff, I really should just get to the packs pretty soon, but as far as the important stuff here, we'll talk about most of it as we go, but some standout stuff we're looking for. Ampharos, Alakazam potentially, because we could play like 4 of that. We're looking for Charizard and Venusaur, these ones in particular. Definitely looking for Clefable, only the one really, but we're looking for Clefable nonetheless. Poliwrath is pretty good, I think people are going to want to trade for that too because the Toad deck. Dragonite would be a good 1 or 2 of. Feraligatr is very strong, again, although we don't have the bats to synergize with it. Gengar is really good here, so we would be looking for that as well. Machamp is interesting. And as far as a lot of the uncommon stuff, well, the Ivysaur is the big standout, because Venusaur is looking to be pretty strong here. Typhlosion is one I am looking for, because of course I am. Typhlosion is one of my favorite starters, so why would I not want it? At least the good ones. And yeah, we're looking for a lot of the uncommon stuff down here too. Dual Ball especially seems to have been short pulled so far, the 2 drafts that have been opened. Only 1 copy of it per player, I think. So if we could get more of this would be very good. We did lose good manners, so getting more search is always strong. And yeah, that's kind of about it. So then we look at the, I suppose I need Metal Energy too, if we could get hold of that. And then we look at the actual promo stuff here. We're almost at the end of the Wizards of the Coast promos. We do just have the Celebi, the Rapidash here, which, yeah, you could just about read that. I don't like the fact that this is on a coin flip for jump over, so I'll probably never play that. Same with the Ho-Oh, to be honest. Like, for 4 energy, 60 would be okay, but then you flip tails and it does 20 instead. Not very good. However, I do want to go over these ones real quick. The Best of Game series is something I have been told by multiple sources is actually legal in this format, despite the fact of it sounds kind of ridiculous and I'd never heard of it before. This actually reprints base set Electabuzz. It reprints a couple of other cards as we go into the next 2 sets as well, but most importantly it reprints Electabuzz. This completes my playset of this card, and if we ever go into Lightning, I did just lose Rocket Zapdos unfortunately, but if I ever go into Lightning, I have 4 of this that I could play at this point. Card is probably still decent. Not as good as it used to be, but still good, right? So keep an eye out on it. Rocket Sneasel is just terrible. You know, there's that little card called Murkrow which can do this effect just much better, the Entrap I mean, and Continuous Scratch is garbage, so we don't care about that. So, with all of that super long-winded thing, hopefully you guys have stuck around for the opening here. Let's get into the actual polls and see what we can get. Okay, so we start off with, like, what is probably the hallmark of this set, right? You get a rare, you get the reverse holo that is a rare, and then you get a holo as well, which is interesting. Unfortunately, none of these are really that good. Arbok is an interesting synergy to play with the Vileplume, but it doesn't do enough even if you do get that synergy off. Like, it's only 70 HP, which sucks. And yeah, 40 damage if the opponent's poisoned, so that does add up a little bit, but no, it's just not strong enough here. Raichu would be better if you could use this for Lightning double colorless, the same as the Ampharos, like from the previous set, but no. Plasma is okay as an attack, but yeah, I don't think there's any real way that you can justify playing this card. It doesn't do enough damage unless you can Shock Bolt, and by the time you can Shock Bolt, it's, yeah, no, not good enough. And the Weezing, if you flip tails, it puts 6 damage counters on itself. It puts damage counters so that there's no way that you can reduce this damage with Metal Energy, like the self-damage. So, yeah, it's really poor. Probably the best card out of this pack is Pokemon Reversal. This is Gust of Wind, but you have to flip heads for it. So, that means we're never going to get to use it. But this also comes back in, like, Ruby Sapphire base. And a couple other sets too. I think Gen 4 has got this as well. So it's definitely a good one to have around. I would rather not open it at the moment though, because Double Gust is just better. But we'll just have to see. Next up here, we do get one of the unfortunate low quality starters here. We have the Feraligatr that just really doesn't do enough, to be honest. I do kind of like the fact that they all have like a cheap energy attack as well, just like one colorless 20, it's fine enough I guess, but their payout is just not strong enough for a stage 2. The Rapidash I think is somewhat interesting, mostly because it's got 0 retreat, right? Like, it's 40 damage for free energy is okay. This is kind of like Magmar from Neo Genesis, except like on an evolution, right? But it has 0 retreat, not 2 retreat, and Overrun could potentially do some bench damage as well. I don't know, that Magmar never saw play, so we'll probably not see it from this either. This pack is much better. Okay, so Multi-Technical Machine is something that we haven't really talked about here. A one-time use tool card that just auto-paralyzes. It's weird, it probably won't see play, but it could do. And it's an interesting one for sure. Any deck can play this. So, Auto Paralysis, just stun the opponent for a turn is fine, right? Master Ball, this is our playset at this point. I do have 3 copies of this from the Gym Challenge. This keeps it in rotation. So, yep, that's fine. We'll play a lot of Pokemon in this format, so Search is good. Machamp is very interesting. So, 120 HP, this is huge, obviously. A lot of the big evolution stage, we're going to see the Feraligatr as well, is at 120. There's a lot of big Pokemon in this set. Terraforming is amazing. Once during your turn, before you attack, may look at the top 4 cards of your deck, rearrange them in any way that you want. I actually played a Gallade Artillery deck in, I believe it was Gen 7, that actually did similar sort of stuff that let you draw cards with the Artillery, and this Machamp is very sort of similar to that. The attack is super expensive, but if you can flip heads off of it, you can do a ton of extra damage here if you've been spread around a little bit. Combine this with like Dogtrio for Magnitude or something to damage your own bench, could be pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, even just the ability is amazing though. Just being able to stack what you're going to draw in the next turn, really, really good. Maybe outclassed because we have Eek though, that's the unfortunate bit. Feraligatr here, if this is your active, it acts like Guzma. Although I think the wording on this is like the opponent gets the choice, so maybe it's more like Warp Point is the thing with it. But it's still really cool, right? You can force the opponent to switch out into one of their lesser things here, and unfortunately we've lost a Golbat. That would be the big combo with this, but if you can spread damage around, you'll be able to do a ton of points with Rending Jaws over here. So I think we've lost a couple of the big spread attacks that we'd be able to use that way, but there's always sniping opportunities with this thing. We've still got Pichu in the format, so we could maybe use that too. Very, very good card to go around. Seems just like Feraligatr is just one of those things that I pull a ton of here. Ninetales is an intriguing one. You have to discard all the fire energy attached to this every time you use it, but it does 20 extra damage to each energy that you discarded. You can splash this with other decks, like other colors, to manipulate the damage that you are doing. You could use this with Porygon 2 actually as well to like change the typing stuff. I don't have that card, but you know, it's kind of neat. Probably combines well with the Typhlosion stuff, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be playing that. Energy Restore is an interesting card. You flip 3 coins for each head, you put a basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. It's probably not better than the energy retrieval stuff at this point, but like, it kind of is on par, right? You're usually going to flip at least 1 heads with this thing, so you could sort of see it as a cheaper energy retrieval that sometimes ends up high rolling into better stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. Butterfree takes on the healing properties of the Venusaur that we've just lost, the one that cures your status conditions whilst it's on the bench. So it's kind of funny the way that it's worded. It's like you'd think, oh, you could use this on itself. Its power can't be used if it's affected by a condition. Kind of lame. The attack is nothing too special, but I mean, it could see play. The Metapod up here does actually reduce damage done to it by 20, which is kind of absurd, to be honest. So there is a world where this actually does see play. It's kind of interesting just to think on here. Also, I kind of didn't even note, for Alligator, the line here, and actually the Poliwhirl line too, they are now weak to lightning instead of grass. So there's a fair few type changes and stuff that way. You can see Butterfree's no longer resistant to fighting, so there's that. There's no psychic resistance on these color types anymore. So we're finally out of that sort of era at the very least. Alright, looking into this pack, we have Pokemon Nurse. This is an intriguing one because it's Max Potion nowadays. But, wow, in the more recent times. We don't have Max Potion at the moment, but in Expanded you do. And yeah, it's a targeted Pokemon Center. Sometimes this will be more useful than the center itself, because you don't necessarily want to have all of your damage on... You don't want to heal all of it, because sometimes you can't remove damage from the Pokemon that have got energy on them, right? So if you can just shuffle some damage around, say if you've been overwhelmed with an Alakazam deck and you can't get rid of all the damage on everything, Pokemon Nurse would be interesting to go with that. Or if you just want that one-time healing, right? Okay, nothing too special in here. Interesting note, I guess the Dragonite line in this set takes a ridiculous energy cost to play. So we are definitely never attacking with that thing. We're just hoping to use its power if we pull it here. Next up, a couple of lame ones here. We do get the Ivysaur, which is good, but I need to pull the Venusaur from this set in order to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, Skarmory is unfortunately still really bad. Like, Steel Beak is a decent enough attack, but yeah, Air Cutter just doing nothing on Tails is terrible. 50 damage isn't even good for that. Pichu, you still have the baby rule here, but oh my god, these babies are worthless. Take one basic energy attached to one of your Pokemon, attach it to another one. What is that even doing? I don't know. And it has a retreat cost? Like, please, no. You can tell they were trying to lower the power level of the basics and stuff because of things like that, right? It's like how far we have fallen. Energy removal too is kind of worth noting. This also does come back in Gen 3 as well. Nowadays we know this is Crushing Hammer, and it is still played nowadays in certain decks, in certain formats, to just be really, really annoying. I don't think we're going to be playing it, but you could easily see it being played and look out for it. It might show up. Pretty decent pack with the stuff here. The Meganium is nothing too special. I think it's still like okay, but one thing to note actually, it's a pure grass type. It's resistant to water at this point. We actually do have a resistance to it. Shame we couldn't have had this for Feraligatr before, but you know, it's here now. Professor Oak's trainer method is good. We did need one of these so we could complete the playset. Professor Oak's research is also pretty strong here. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. Not the strongest amount of card draw, but it's still consistency, still more draw than we had before. So happy enough to see it. This is pretty good. We needed to get Metal Energy. There's a few times that this gets printed in the near future, so we don't need all of them at the moment, but I didn't have a single one of this before, so definitely happy to see it. Otherwise, nothing too impressive here. The Electabuzz kind of reminds me a little bit of Surge's Electabuzz. It's not quite as strong because it doesn't get the energy from the discard, but it has the same general idea, so maybe there's something to that? I don't think so, though. Next up, more of this Butterfree, just so much of that. This Charizard is probably the best out of these non-holo starter Pokemon. Tail Smash is not amazing because of the coin tossing, but 1 for 40 would still be really good, right? And then Flamethrower is just standard damage. Discard 1 fire attached to it to just do 60 for free is respectable. So, like, I could maybe see it if we get the other one. Another Research is good, more Technical Machine is good. Yeah, solid enough out of that. Another Machamp is really good too. I might actually look at building this if I get... I've had a couple of Machoke as well, so maybe I look into this. It's quite a decent one. Meganium is an intriguing card. If you can flip heads with this thing, just heal 10. It's Brock, heal 10 from each of your Pokemon per turn if you can flip heads with it. Auto Poison is quite nice too. We didn't get the Meganium that doubles grass efficacy though, so I don't think we're ever actually playing this. But like, it's big, it resists water, solid enough. So don't like sleep on it too much. Here we do get the Flaffy, is kind of good. This Kingler, if you flip tails, its attack does nothing, and that's pretty much all you need to read. But like, that's a huge amount of damage for the energy it takes. Another one of these Technical Machines too. We've only opened a third of this box, and we've got a lot of those already, so that's kind of funny. Let's just keep on going here. This is what we want. Okay, Venusaur is probably the second best card out of this set. Once during your turn, before you attack, if you attach an energy from your hand to your active Pokemon as part of your turn, you may attach an additional energy card to that Pokemon at the same time. This is Blaine, but for any energy on any Pokemon. Ridiculously good. We do have Energy Trans in the format as well, so if we do play this in an actual grass deck, we have the option to double attach and then trans one of those energy away if we only needed the one, or even just trans both of them away if we've got maxed out stuff. We just attach to the active and just go from there. I'm pretty sure this power does not stack. I will have to ask DNA about that later, but I'm pretty sure you can only use this once. But we definitely need this. This is super, super good. Otherwise, yeah, nothing too much here. Bill's maintenance is interesting. Shuffle one of the cards in your hand into your deck and then draw 3 cards. It's fine. Draw 3 is always a decent amount to have, so that's good. Alakazam is intriguing. I guess we could talk about it before we get to the deck now. Alakazam, if you can pay for the energy costs, you can use any one of the opponent's attacks instead of your own. It's like that Togetic, except... I mean, I guess it's a cross between the Togetic and the Pseudo-Widow, where Togetic, if you flipped heads, you could just metronome any one of the opponent's attacks, whereas the Pseudo-Widow was like it could only copy the active's attacks, but it had this same sort of pay requirement thing. So, I don't know, it's cool. You could definitely use the opponent's best stuff against them. Do note that we don't have Rainbow Energy in this one set, though. Next set, we get it back, but we don't have Rainbow this round, so we might not be playing this. The attack is decent too, 1 Psychic, 2 Colorless, and the 2 Colorless is good obviously because we are playing a card that requires the opponent's stuff, right? 80 damage if you can match the energy cards on the opponent. That's kind of good, right? If you use it against something that has a lot of energy attached, you can just do tons to it. Really, really strong. Good support accounts here as well. I would like to see Copycat, but I'm happy enough to see Research here. This is like the 4th Butterfree that we've had here, not really too good to be honest. It's a tech line at best anyway. Next up, more Venusaur. Beautiful. And Copycat. Okay, Copycat is probably the 3rd best card of this set. Most of the time, the opponent is going to be eking in the early game, right? Because they need to get their setup. That's a shuffle, draw 7, ends their turn. Copycat just comes in and shuffle draws until what the opponent has in their hand. So if they have 7 cards in their hand, bang, shuffle draw 7 of your own. It's the same as Elm, except it doesn't stop you from playing other cards in the rest of the turn. So really, really good. Also, yeah, the 2 Venusaur is what I want. I want to have like a 2-2 split for the Venusaur, so super happy to see that. If I get more, I get more, that's great, but for the most part, I am fine on that now. Mew is an intriguing one here. The Super Psywave does the same sort of thing as the regular one did, except for 1 more energy, but it's a bench sniping move. It also puts damage counters, not does physical damage, so it can't hit for weakness. That is important. Most of the reason Mew was played before was to counter the Cyber and Mewtwo, because it could hit for weakness. We can't do that in this format, but you can snipe something the opponent's building on the bench. That could be useful enough for Psychic decks. Not too bad to see. Ending the first half of the pack here, we have Strength Charm. This is plus power, but as a tool card, so you can't stack it, and also this takes up the slot where Goldberry or Focus Band or something would. So just an extra flat 10 damage is always good though. We definitely are happy to see this, but it's not quite as strong as the old plus power used to be, right? Also, we can see the Skarmory here as well. That is the holo that we pulled this time around. Yep, halfway through. Pretty satisfied so far. We haven't seen Charizard or Gengar, which is unfortunate, but we have seen a lot of supporters. Like, I think I've seen 3 or 4 research at this point. It's super, super good. Yeah, reverse holo, Raichu, whatever, it doesn't matter. This Fearow is intriguing. So, Fearow, I don't think is quite at the right power level at this point. But any 2 colorless energy, the opponent can't retreat next turn, and 20 damage as well. It's respectable. Supersonic Flight unfortunately brings it down, like that's just not good enough for if Tails does nothing, but stopping the opponent retreating next turn might just be a good enough play. Also, Power Charge is interesting enough to see here. More reset, I mean, we don't need the training method, unfortunately, because we're going to get it out of the deck, but still decent. This Blastoise is intriguing. I don't think it's very good, but that's just me, I think. Energy Cannon is kind of like a slightly easier to play Hydro Pump. It's the same general damage output, but it doesn't rely on water energy for the extra damage. The main thing with this Blastoise is Jet Stream. where if you flip heads whilst it's your active, you discard an energy from both Blastoise and the opponent's Pokemon. It's like that Charmander's Kindle, except, yeah, you're maybe doing a bit more damage with it afterwards. Possibly a control tool? I don't think it's good enough, especially because it's on the coin flip, but possibly a control tool, like if you really are desperate. I don't know. I don't think this Blastoise is any good either, unfortunately. The bubble would be fine if it wasn't on the stage 2, and double cannon's doing it no favors, right? 2 coins, 40 per heads. These sorts of attacks have seen play before, but mostly as like, okay, this Pokemon is really good otherwise, right? Like, say the Dragonair with Hyper Beam, or the Dragonite with Slam had Rush In, basically. I think it was Step In it was called, but same idea, where it's just like you use them for the other parts of the card, and it just so happens to have this kind of attack that's whatever, you know. Yeah, not super impressed with it, to be honest. Whoa, okay, so, I wanted this card. Didn't expect to get 2 of it in the same thing. Regular Rare and Reverse Holo. So this Dragonite, you are never attacking with this Dragonite. This Dragonite's attack is awful. It also doesn't resist fighting anymore, which is kind of funny. But, once during your turn, if it's on the bench, you reduce your active Pokemon's retreat cost to 0. This is kind of like a Super Dodrio, except it's only once per turn, but that's fine. We can deal with that. So you use this in decks that use hit and run attacks for the most part, and you can retreat the Pokemon that you switched into and get back to your hit and run stuff super quickly. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the best one of those yet. Well, it looks like we're maybe not. We've got 1/3 of the set left, right? Another Butterfree is kind of funny. The triple rare pack here. Dual Ball is the first time we're seeing this. Again, I was hoping to get more of this, but we just got the other trainers instead. Flip 2 coins. For each heads, search your deck for a basic Pokemon other than a baby. Show it to the opponent, put it into your hand. You can't get clever with this, but it's 2 coins give you a chance to get any of your evolving stuff. So still super beneficial. Alright, next up, Darkness Energy is not one I need to see. I have 4 of it already. Nothing special in that pack otherwise, to be honest. Chansey is kind of funny because it does so much damage to itself as well, but we don't even have Blissey, so we've not played anyway. This one's pretty interesting. Okay, so first off, Mary's Impulse, probably the worst card I've ever read. Flip a coin until you get tails, for each heads, draw 2 cards. Okay. Bill is objectively better. This is a supporter, so you can't play other supporters in the same turn. If you flip 2 heads, great, Bill's teleporter, but you had to flip 2 instead of 1. Yeah, it's never happening. This card is garbage. Typhlosion is really, really cool. I was hoping to see more of this, but I do have the other one, so maybe I could still play it. If you have less energy in play than the opponent, you get to search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. Doesn't even have to be a fire Pokemon, just has to be on the bench. Its attack is solid enough as well, right? Like just 50, if heads burn, that's fine. Like it's not the best attack out there, but it's definitely not the worst. So it's good. You can accelerate energy to a lot of your stuff and just go from there. This Dugtrio is somewhat intriguing. Mostly, like, its attack is somewhat expensive, and it does damage you as well. We have lost transparent walls, so keep that in mind here. We can't reduce this to 0, but it's 10 damage to each bench Pokemon in play. Like I said, combine this potentially with Machamp in order to do damage to yourself, so the Machamp can then actually do a lot of extra damage with the Iron Fist attack, right? There might be something to that. As we keep going, another Metal Energy is really good. The Kadabra is nice too, because we do need to have enough of that if we're going to play the Alakazam. Dragonair is also not too bad as well. We might just Pokemon Breed it past it though. Yeah, Metal Energy is super good. Next up, more of the Ninetales, more of the Blastoise. Nothing really too fancy here. Pokemon Nurse is okay. Really hoping to have seen the Gengar, but I guess we're just not getting that. Another Dual Ball is really good. Power Charge, I think, completes the playset if we didn't already have that. Graveler is somewhat interesting because the Golem's damage reduction is pretty solid here. Graveler is decent spread damage. Like, it doesn't do a lot of outright damage, but it's still okay. I think the other one's probably better though. And then Machamp, as we've seen. This is like the 3rd copy of it though, so I could play that deck now. Might be worth it. More Dugtrio too. Yeah, maybe I actually look into this for playing this round. Pretty good. Alright, so 6 packs left. Not seen Gengar, not seen Clefable, not seen the good Charizard. So there's a lot of stuff I would still like in here. None of it we have seen in this pack, unfortunately. Energy removal too is kind of whatever. Cloyster is mostly notable because it's Ice type. Ice is now weak to Steel, so Metal actually has something that it can hit for weakness now. Even though technically Cloyster wouldn't get hit for it, super effective. Don't think too much about it. Pokemon TCG weaknesses are terrible. This card is really bad though, so that's as much as it's worth noting. Vileplume, if you flip heads, you can also poison the opponent. Doesn't even have to be the active to do that, so I guess it's okay. Key note here, I don't think I've noticed this on the Gloom and stuff before. Yeah, these guys are weak to Psychic now, instead of Fire. So that's kind of cute, I suppose. Petal Dance is also interesting at this point, mostly because it's like 2 energy to do this. Remember, Dark Vileplume was 3 grass to do this. Regular Vileplume was 40 times, but was also 3 grass. So this kind of shows you the way the game is going a little bit here. This Petal Dance is a lot stronger. I think even Sunflora is 3 grass to do this amount, so yeah. Kind of crazy the way that's going. Nothing really too fancy here. Another Blastoise, another Pokemon Nest. Yeah, whatever. More Alakazam. Maybe I don't take that deck. No. No, I don't know. We'll have to see. Nothing really too good in here. I've already got most of the stuff for it. This Charizard was the one I was hoping to see earlier. Didn't really see enough of it here. Once during your turn, you may turn all basic energy attached to all of your Pokemon into fire energy. So it's like Energy Burn, except it's on everything, which may or may not be a good thing. You can splash this in other decks. The idea of this is you play it with the Venusaur, and you can double attach every turn. Because its attack one-shots everything in the game, right? 120 for 4 energy, basically. Flip 2 coins. If one of them is Tails, discard 2 energy attached to it, so it becomes Fire Spin, but the 20 damage to take it over the top is really good. But if you flip both Tails, all energy get discarded. That is a risk you just have to take. Keep in mind, this also has 120 HP, no longer resistant to fighting, but I don't think that really matters too much at this point. It still has the big HP, it one-shots everything in the game, you play it with a Venusaur and it's like super good. I have a lot of the other Charizard, I could maybe still play it. Right, because Venusaur still makes that work, so maybe it's still usable. 2 packs left to go here. Another Darkness is not what I need to see, I already have too many of those. Nothing really fancy in this pack. Otherwise, last one, we got the Venusaur. Okay, that's actually respectable. So we've got 3 copies of this Venusaur. Could just play like 3 of this and 1 Energy Trance might be a play. Pokemon Reversal is pretty good too, so happy enough at that. Okay, so I did miss one really big card that I wanted out of this set. I didn't get a single Clefable, so I think that pretty much guarantees that I am taking the Echo deck, because that Clefable is too important to not have. Long story short, that Clefable goes ahead and trades one of the cards in your hand for a basic energy out of your deck. And that just seems too good to not have around. So yeah, I think we've got to take the Echo deck at this point, even though I think I already have quite a lot of the other stuff from it. So I don't know, hopefully that'll be fine. So let's just go ahead, remove the stuff. We're not going to see very many duplicates in this set now, because honestly there just aren't many, right, for the stuff that way. I did get a lot of research though, that's good. Okay, let's spread these out, see what we actually did pick up here. I know this has been a very long, especially compared to the last couple, been a very long set at this point. There's a lot to discuss here, so not really too surprised at that. So, things that we got too many of. Master Ball is unfortunate. I already had 3 copies of this, so yeah, a bit of a shame to have seen so many of those. So many multi-technical machines too. I did notice I was getting a lot of these. Didn't think I had 8 of them. The one annoyance with these sets, if you do end up getting like locked in on an uncommon, it doesn't happen too often, but we've got a couple of extra research here too. But it's like, if you get locked in on an uncommon, 8 copies of this card, it's like, that could have been anything else, right? We only get 72 uncommons guaranteed in the set, like, because we only get 2 per pack, right? So to get 8 that are the same, is a little bit annoying, but whatever. These research are probably going to be pretty good for trading because we did actually whiff those, I think, on Pepper's side. So maybe I can get something out of that. So, other stuff. We got a lot of this Venusaur, not a lot of the Ivysaur. I think that's good enough though, because I think with the one Southern Islands one, this is basically a 4-3 line. I didn't get any of the actual like really good Bulbasaur though, so I'm still gonna have to play a 40 HP one, which kind of sucks. But there was a Bulbasaur in here that has 50 HP that I think is just a lot better. Somehow whiffed it entirely. Nice common luck, I suppose. Yeah, so we could do that. Only the one Charizard, so I probably wouldn't be able to play that deck. Maybe a 1-0-1 line for it, just as like a tech attacker for the thing. Could be strong enough, to be honest. We didn't get very many of the Wartortle, which actually is somewhat of a problem if you want to play Blastoise, but we really don't, so whatever. Lots of the Metapod Butterfree stuff here. Butterfree is okay, right? Like, 40 damage for free energy is not amazing, but, like, its power is decent. Look how many we got, though. 6 of it in total. Kind of crazy. Otherwise, funny that I got more Arbok than Ekans. That's really silly. I think the Ekans just rotated too, so can't even play the full line there if we wanted to. The Ninetales here, yeah, not a single Clefable. We're going to have to take the Echo deck for that. 2 Diglett Dugtrio. I guess that's good enough. Yeah, if I want to play Machamp. I only got 1 Machoke though, and the other Machoke is not amazing. So, like, maybe I'd have to try and trade for that. But, yeah, that could still happen. The Rapidash, I said, is not super good. Didn't get a single one of the Gengar. I'm going to have to go into that later as well, because that Gengar is super, super good. Shame I didn't get that, but I mean, can't get everything you want all the time. We've had some really, really good sets recently, so, you know. 2 Dragonite, you never want to play more than 2 anyway, so that's good. Got all the Flaffy, none of the Ampharos though, which was another one I was hoping to get. One of the Gator, probably going to want to trade that, to be honest, to get enough stuff for it. Typhlosion, again, 1 copy, but I have the other one that I can play. This Quilava is kind of decent too, so not too bad on that front. Then looking down further, nothing really too fancy, a lot of Skarmory that's not really playable. Then looking at the trainer stuff, I think I did extremely well in most of the trainers here. Only 1 Copycat is fine because both decks have 2 of it, so I think we're decent on that front regardless. And then we'll look at it. 2 Pokemon Reversal is fine because we'll get more of it later. 2 Dual Ball is better than average at the moment. We will get more of that later too. Full playset of Removal 2 if I did want to go down that route for some reason. Ton of Master Ball. These would be up for trade as well if people still need it. A couple of Power Charge to complete the playset. This is somewhat relevant because it does get special energy back into deck. You just gotta flip heads for it, so I don't know. Luckily only 1 Super Scoop. That's fine. Then Triple Bill's Maintenance really good. It's the other reason I don't need to go that route. Elm's Training Method people are not going to need, so unfortunately just pulled too many of that. But a ton of the research, a couple of Strength Charm, and not very many Impulse. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the setup here. I don't think we can complain too much. Like I was saying, the one card I really wanted that I didn't get was the Gengar. This is a good hit and run attacker that works well with the Dragonite, or even Dodrio. You could go down that sort of route too. And if you are low on if the opponent's low on prizes, you can shift damage from your side to the opponent's side. And yeah, this is just really, really strong. We just didn't get it, unfortunately. What else did we not get? We didn't get the Ampharos. That was the other one. If you could just take any energy from your bench and put, basic-wise at least, and put it onto the active. So you can keep switching and healing and stuff like that with it. Really cool idea. Just didn't get it. And then Clefable's the other big one that we'll have 1 copy of, but I was really hoping to play a 2-2 of this. Oh well. Can't really complain too much. Put a card from your hand back into the deck, search your deck for a basic energy. That's more or less it. There's at least 1 in here, so we'll get that. And there's going to be like a Furret, I think, in the next set that is slightly more expensive, but can get special energy as well. So that's an uncommon, I think, too. So we'll probably be able to replace that anyway. Yeah, so we're taking this one. And that gives us the playset of the like Alakazam and stuff as well. But add that to the thing here, and that is what we have. How many Kadabra did I get anyway? Only the 1, so this gives us 3. Okay, that's more than fine. The other Kadabra is still in play too, so good stuff. Okay, this was really, really long, and I apologize if, you know, there was just way too much going over here. But this is a big set with a lot of important stuff. Expect this from most sets, to be honest. There's a lot of really good cards in a ton of the sets going forward, so do not think this is an outlier. There's so much to discuss in so many of these. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves, and until next time, I guess we'll. I do like stream stuff on Twitch for testing decks and whatnot, and of course on Saturdays is when we do the battle side of things. So if you want to take a look and see what's being built as we go, do check the description for my Twitch channel and whatnot. And until then, yeah, take care.